Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we're breaking down my highlights from episode 1 of A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. And I need to say this right up front. Some of my favorite moments weren't even from the book. I know what's coming, I've read these stories, and somehow this episode still surprised me. It does a sneaky amount of character work. It's way warmer and goofier than most Westeros premieres, and after some careful deliberation, I might actually be ready to walk back my first hot take, which is the bathroom humor adds nothing. Because, as much as I don't love Dunk relieving himself next to a freshly dug grave, the more I thought about it, the more I realized it kind of has a purpose. It answers a huge question about Dunk, shows just how far he's willing to go to survive, and sets up the central idea of this episode, which is, for the most part, Dunk is play acting knighthood. So let's talk about why this premiere works, what the show adds that the book never did, and how this awkward, doomed man somehow gives us one of the warmest starts in the world of Westeros. So we open with Dunk burying Ser Arlan on the side of a valley, and we are met with a major conflict. Where should he go, and how will he get by after losing his mentor? And after some emotional back and forth, Dunk sets forth to Ashford town to enter the lists in a tournament. Then Dunk stumbles through a series of increasingly awkward introductions. He meets this orphaned stable boy, gets dinner, runs into this very drunken lord who seems to know him, heads to Ashford and tries to enter the lists. He talks to Plummer, the master of the games, and Plummer asks Dunk if anyone was there to witness Ser Arlan knight him, and Dunk answers, only a robin in a thorn tree. Well, we saw what he was doing when that robin was in the tree, and it certainly wasn't being knighted. So let's file that away. Dunk wasn't knighted at that moment. He flat out lies to Plummer, and this really matters for the setup of his character. It tells us something important about Dunk. He may be untested, a little naive, and at his core, a true believer in chivalry and protecting those who need it, but he's also a realist. He has a hard life ahead of him as a hedge knight. He has no money, no worldly possessions, and nowhere to call home. So he needs a way into this tournament, and his only shot at making a name for himself is showing up as a knighted man so he can enter the list. So while Dunk might be a good person, a just person, and an honorable person, this is his make or break moment, and it speaks to the class system in Westeros. When you don't have a name for yourself, sometimes a lie is the only way to get ahead. It doesn't make him a bad person, but this choice he makes, this lie, will eventually change the entire landscape of the world. It means everything to the story. So there it is. I'll eat my hat this one time and give the toilet humor a pass because it shows the lengths he's willing to take to claw his way into a better position. And it's a sneaky little moment of character work. Now, after his interaction with Plummer, the master of the games, Dunk heads off on a side quest to visit Ser Manfred of House Dondarrion because he thinks Manfred can vouch for him, which will allow him to call himself a knight and enter the tourney. And Dunk then runs into a larger cast of characters. First, a group of prostitutes, and then the Fossoways. And I'm a big fan of the Fossoways. Well, maybe I should say the Fossoway plot, because I love Raymun, but Ser Steffon is a huge jerk. Hands down, the funniest line in the episode is Steffon asking if Dunk wears a longsword, and Dunk replies, "It is mine by right." And Steffon says, "That's an odd thing to say." Because it actually is such a weird thing to say. And this tells us a little more about Dunk. He's big, he's naive, he's a little bit insecure, but he's also on edge because he took the sword and is at the tourney trying to prove himself a knight. This is all kind of new to him, so your boy is acting real cagey, and that's the whole tension of Dunk's character in one sentence. A few apple puns later, Dunk decides he needs to camp somewhere away from all the other knights and heads back to find Ser Manfred. And we meet a couple more new characters, like her, Tansel, the puppeteer girl. She's tall, she's cute, and just look at that smile. Dunk is obviously smitten because look at her. And then little Raymun Fossoway loops back around, and we get to my favorite part of the episode. Now, I need to flag something because this episode hasn't fully played its hand yet. There is one character coming up who completely hijacks the energy, and it's Lyonel Baratheon. Raymun pulls Dunk into the Baratheon tent, and from the second that happens, the show starts flexing. This is one of my favorite scenes of the episode, and it's completely show only, but they absolutely nailed it. Because when we finally get to that tent scene, it's not just fun. It's the moment the show proves it can introduce a big personality without flattening him into a caricature. Lyonel Baratheon is a man of interesting character. In the books, he's motivated by glory, recognition, and frankly, the lulz. But here, the show starts building an actual relationship between Lyonel and Dunk. And that choice works beautifully, in my opinion. We get speeches, we get dancing, we get foot stomping, and Lyonel has that kind of swagger that feels unmistakably Baratheon. I'm serious, every time he's on screen, the tone shifts. The show suddenly remembers that Westeros can be loud and joyful and a little unhinged. This is the man who treats a tourney like a party and his title like an accessory. I would love to have been in the writer's room when they were deciding how to portray this character because they could have gone in so many directions. He's a big personality, but this whole Balkan-inspired dance party fever dream is such a standout for me. Because seriously, when is the last time we've seen characters within the world of Song of Ice and Fire just having a good time without anything catastrophic happening? It's also hard to have a character that you want to tie to Robert Baratheon, but not be a carbon copy of Robert. And if you keep watching, I promise you he just continues to be more and more delightful. Now, when we get to the rest of the episode, it really all revolves around Dunk not getting the help of Ser Manfred and meeting a lot of people along the way. But it all ends with the idea of fate and destiny, with Egg meeting him at his camp and becoming, for now, his squire. I think all in all, the shooting star does mean a lot to Dunk's story because where fate will take him. And that's really where the episode leaves us. Dunk ends the hour exactly where he started. Still not a knight, still trying to grow into a title he hasn't quite earned yet, but now there's a witness to that lie. Egg choosing Dunk as his mentor isn't just fate. It complicates everything. Because it's one thing to lie for yourself, but it's another thing to let a kid believe in the story you're telling. From here on out, Dunk isn't just play acting knighthood, he's responsible for actually showing what it truly means. And honestly, that's why the premiere works. It's warm, it's funny, it's a little awkward, and it sneaks in some of the most important character groundwork the story will do. And for once in Westeros, the stakes are low, the world isn't ending, it just quietly changes. So with that, if you enjoyed this video, do a girl a favor, hit like, subscribe, ring the bell, or I will strap you to the Ashford chair myself. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you back next time.